We will begin each class with what I call a devotional. The devotional will consist of one of three things. You'll either share your favorite scripture, and you can take a minute, well, you can take a brief why it's your favorite, or you can lead us in your favorite, the first verse of your favorite, or one verse, it doesn't have to be the first, a verse of your favorite hymn or children's song, or other uplifting song, or you can do a brief spiritual thought. This is not time to do, just want a minute or less. And then, after one of those three things, you'll either offer the prayer or have lined up someone in class to give the prayer. Is anyone opposed to that? I find it helps me, and I think it helps students to just have that little brief to hear from each other. Would anyone like to volunteer to share their favorite scripture, lead us in a verse of their favorite song, or give a brief thought, and then say the prayer today? Do you have a favorite scripture?
I have a favorite scripture.
Okay.
It's D&C 121, 7 through 9. And it has something to go along the lines with when Joseph was in Carthage. He talked about, I want to say it exactly, but I don't know how it goes. Hold on, I'm here and looking at it. But I really like this one because back when I was younger, it was the first reason that I really actually got a prayer answered. And I don't know, it's always been my favorite section, and it's really good. Let's see if I can find it. Sorry.
While she's finding it, who would like to volunteer for Wednesday to come prepared? Give me your name. Jessica Evans. Jessica has Wednesdays. Okay, and you got it?
Kaylee, yeah.
Kaylee
Smith.
Okay. And I will pass around a paper on Wednesday, and we'll sign up for the rest of the semester, and everybody should get a chance to do one, or maybe a few of you might get to do more than one, but you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it's 7 and 8. It says, "My son, peace be unto thine own soul. Thine adversity and thine affliction shall be but a small moment. And then if thou endure it well, God shall exalt thee on high, and thou shalt triumph over all thy foes." I don't know, that's always stuck out to me, and right now it's just going through all this sort of turmoil, both with school, personal lives, just everything. It's nice to have that scripture.
Thank you. Can you come up and give us a prayer?
Yeah.
You don't, if you're in charge of the devotional, you don't have to do the thought and the prayer, or the scripture and the prayer, or the song and the prayer. You can just do the one and then call on somebody, get somebody lined up to do the prayer. But we'll have you do both.
Okay. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so very thankful for this beautiful Monday morning. And please bless us that we can be able to have our minds open to learning, that we can do good in all of our classes, and that we can start off this semester with a positive attitude. Please bless us that we can have a good rest of this day, and that we can meet new people and have a good time as we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, I'll briefly introduce myself. I'm Brother Piper. What do you need to know about me? Let's see. I grew up in Idaho, born in Utah, but only lived there a few weeks and came to Idaho. I've lived in Lava Hot Springs, went to 1st and 2nd grade there, moved to McCammon, just up the road, went to 3rd and 4th and 5th, and then we moved up to, anybody's heard of Thomas or Rockford, Pingree, southwest of Blackfoot, Idaho. And I went to school there, graduated from Snake River, came up to Ricks College back in 1974, fall of 74, came up and had my first semester here, where I took my calculus class. That first fall the building no longer exists. It's down where the snow is. Anyway, it's been a few years ago. I received a mission call to go to Colombia in South America. I was way excited because my two best friends from high school already had their call, and they were just a few months ahead of me. Thought maybe we could be companions. Got to the LTM, that's what they used to call the MTC, the Language Training Mission, back in those days, and they were having troubles with visas, couldn't get a visa. My one friend, he'd been there for 3 months and he still didn't have one. He finally got one and left. I didn't get one. They sent about 90 of us that were waiting for visas to Colombia to stateside missions, and I ended up in Texas, San Antonio mission. And after 4.5 months there, on a state conference, my mission president came to me at state conference and said, your mission call has been changed by the First Presidency. You are now assigned to the Spain Barcelona mission, and you're leaving on Wednesday. And so I had 3 days to get ready to go to Barcelona, and ended up spending the last 18.5 months of my 25 months turned out to be in Spain, and I never did get to work with my friends. But Elder Richards brought back my Colombia Cali mission name tag, so now I have one from San Antonio, from Barcelona, and from Colombia. Anyway, came back, went to BYU in Provo, met my wife there, got married. We have 9 children. We have 12 grandchildren, with a couple coming here within a couple of months. My oldest is 33. He'll be graduating from dental school in May. I'll be missing one of our classes to go down to be at his graduation. We'll still hold class, we'll cover class. And my youngest is, she turned 17 in May and will be a senior this coming fall at Madison here, and then we've got all the ones in between. 6 of them are married. They're scattered all over: Arizona, California, Wisconsin, Wyoming. I've got a son who just returned from a mission who's decided to sell pest control. He's in Southern California. And
Who else named California?
Yep.
Do you have a son named Peter?
I do. Don't laugh at it. Sometime I'll tell you how he got his name. I mean, we gave it to him. Where? Why we chose that name? Yeah, you know him?
I
Went to school with him? Okay. It fits him, doesn't it? Okay. Any other questions that you want to ask?
What part of Wisconsin?
Verona, just outside of Madison.
I'm from Green Bay.
Okay, yeah. They've been back there 3 years, I think, and my son-in-law is coming to start an MBA degree in Provo, so they'll be back here in August, a lot closer, so that'll be fun to see those grandkids more often. Although, my favorite thing is every Sunday afternoon we get on. I just love iChat AV and now FaceTime, and we get on and I have my grandkids, they can read stories to me, I can read stories to them, they can show me their artwork. Last night they were showing me their artwork, here's what I drew. It's so fun. And all of our Sunday afternoons we take about 4 to 5 hours, because I need to get everybody on the same, a group video deal, but we get done talking with somebody for an hour, and then we go to, find out what they're. It's fun to keep up. Technology's wonderful. Anything else you need to know about me? my favorite things besides doing math, and I do math for fun, you know. If you guys do Sudoku or any of those kind of things, that's
So much fun.
logic. Yeah, it's math. In fact, there's a lot of fun math things to do. Besides that, the things I like to do for fun are, I like to cook and eat. I love to, probably my favorite is just any ethnic food, so my favorite thing is to go to an ethnic food restaurant, eat something and say, what did they built this with? And go home and just see if I can recreate it. And the internet's really nice too, because you can Google a recipe on something like that and find it. Anyway, love to do outdoors, love to camp and hike and be in the outdoors. This is a wonderful place. If you guys don't get in the outdoors, it's a little disheartening when it's spring term. That's what we call it, spring term though. Did you notice this morning they didn't call it summer term? We had some snow. But it'll be good enough. You need to get out in the outdoors and go out and see things, and there's so many beautiful things. Go up to Mesa Falls and hike into the backcountry of Yellowstone and hike to the top of the Yellow Butte. What are some other fun things you guys do outdoors?
Fly fishing, golfing.
Fly fishing. This is the best if you're into fly fishing. Yeah, golfing, whatever. Anyway, I plan on being here 10 to 15 minutes early every day, and so as you come in and as we're talking, we get a chance to visit and talk and so on, I'll hopefully get better acquainted with you and you with me. Let me get to know you just a bit. How many freshmen do we have in here? Freshmen, few. A fourth, third. How many sophomores? Okay. Juniors? Seniors? Okay, few. How many married students? 3 or 4. How many returned missionaries? 4 or 5. Okay. How many early childhood, are they calling it early childhood special education? What are they calling it still?
Yep.
How many of you in that major? Okay. Elementary? Secondary majors, math ed majors? 1, 2, 3, 6, quite a few. Anybody that doesn't fit one of those? Crazy to take this guy? What do you take?
Special ed generalist.
Generalist.
It's
That's-
K through 12.
Okay, so that's different than the early childhood one.
Yeah, that one's for
For
younger
the younger, so you're special ed and going all the way up through.
children.
Okay. Any others? Okay. Most people don't just take this for an elective fun, but you never know. I had you look at the BYU Idaho Learning Model and watch a little short video clip and then write some responses to some questions there. Let's see, are you James? Yeah, James? Are you in this class? Math 205, section 2, 1015, 108. Yeah, you're in the wrong class. Who else just came in? I didn't get on the roll. I thought I saw somebody else come in. Yeah. Samantha. Samantha what? I don't have you on my roll either.
No, I just decided this morning to take the class.
Okay, so you just barely added. Give me your name again. Samantha
Samantha
Holland.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then May Harvard.
Okay. All right. So I'm still missing Brianna Standage. There, anybody know her? Or James Richter. he could have been the only male in the class. And he's not here. Okay. Learning model. As you watched the video, or as you were reading through the learning model, thinking about the questions, what kind of thoughts or feelings did you get?
For me at least, I don't know about everybody else, but I was just confused on what we were supposed, like how we were supposed to answer the questions, because those are kind of really opinionated questions.
They are.
Okay. So
Yeah. So did you answer one?
I did answer all of them, but it was just, it was tricky to understand like how I was supposed to answer them, like just the way the questions were worded.
So how many principles? 5. How do those 5 principles, what do they have to do with learning math? This kind of one of the...
Well, I kind of felt like it was trying to teach us that we need to establish a sense of, like, a safe environment where people can just share their opinions so that we can teach each other and use the spirit to teach each other. Because that's how we learn, is with the spirit.
Okay.
So we have to have that sort of environment.
And what kind of environment do you want for your elementary ed or secondary ed classes? Or do you want students that are afraid to share what they're thinking? Thank you. Yes.
I realize that with the content of this class, we really will have to take accountability, or we'll have to be accountable for our learning for a lot of it. Since there aren't textbooks and things for us, we're going to have to be able to be responsible for gathering materials that will help us learn and then help our future students.
Okay. Paying attention. Showing up to class. Okay, so that accountability part is mentioned. Did I see another hand? Yeah.
I noticed, like, when doing math, because in some of my other math classes, I noticed that other people think through it differently. So to be able to talk to other people and learn how they do it is helpful too.
Why? As long as you got it done and they got it done, why should you share?
I think it just gives you different perspective of how to just think about it differently.
Anybody else want to answer that question? Why should we care what other people think? Yeah.
For me, it's each of our students are going to learn differently. So just because we know one way doesn't mean all of our 32 students are going to learn the exact same way. So it's so vital for us to learn the different paths that different people take to find their answers, so we can better be able to teach our students the math in their learning.
Because if you only know one way to get there and it's not working for your student, both of you are in trouble, right?
Yep.
But if we pay attention and look for other ways other people may have solved.
I make cakes, and so there's different ways of doing something that's basic. Different ways of decorating. You teach the student the basics, but the fun part is watching them learn their own little tricks to memorize, to keep it with them. And if we don't share our personal tricks, we might not be able to pass on something that works.
Won't be as valuable in the classroom. Yeah.
I realized when I was in high school that like after I had finished a course, I think it was like Algebra 2 or something, and they were learning like the FOIL process, and I was talking to some of my younger friends, and they said, well, we don't do it that way, we do it this way. And I was like, well, I don't understand that way. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, we used the box method, whereas I just like used parentheses and FOIL differently. But they still got the same answer, and it was just different. It was interesting to see how the teachers were able to change what they were learning and teach it a different way for their students.
One of the things we'll do in here is we're going to ask you to do the assignment, starting with the one on Wednesday, and as soon as you submit it, a key becomes available to you. In the key, you will frequently find a problem that will have more than one solution to it. I'll say you could have done it this way, or you could have done it this way, and in some cases you could have done it a third way. If you did it the first way that's illustrated, don't stop there. Don't say, well, yep, get it there, so I'll mark that, I got it right, I did it that way, full credit. Keep reading, because you might learn something some other way. And if you did it different, you say, well, I got the same answer, but I didn't do any of those 3 ways. I want to hear from you, right? What are you supposed to do? Come in a little early if you can, and write the solution up on one of the sideboards. let me know, and I'll write it down, and I'll add it to the solution, and I'll say contributed by, we'll put your name, semester spring 13, you'll go down into the history of the course of having, okay? Now if it's slightly different, we could still hear from you, but if it's a whole different way, those are ones we really want to get into that key so that it gets richer and richer each time the course is taught. Okay? Other thoughts from how could these 5 principles, how do they play into mathematics?
The first one, faith. I haven't been in school. This is my first class in 19 years. And so when I looked at everything yesterday, I just got very overwhelmed, and I thought, sorry, I always get emotional, but I'm going to have faith, which, to be able to remember all this stuff, all the prerequisites I took 19 years ago, but it's been a while.
So we'll be patient with you. And I think, so she needs faith, but how about the rest of us? Well, whenever we're in a hole, you know what I mean by in a hole? Whenever we've got a problem that we can't handle by ourselves, faith is going to be required. And if we don't put you in a hole at least one time during the semester, I haven't done my job. Now my job is not to keep you in the hole and keep you frustrated and but there, the scripture says, by what we are saved? By grace we are saved after all we can do. You know it pretty well. That grace, that faith, if we do everything we can, that's when we can turn to the Lord and say, I've done everything, help. And that can happen in math sometimes. It's happened for me. So I think faith is I think that's why that one's the first. I don't know if there's any particular order, but I was actually on the committee when I first got here 9 years ago to help draw those up. I can tell you some inspired stories there. The learning model is something, those of you who are freshmen, never seen it before, get to know it. Get to understand what it means. For those of you who have seen it before, learn it better. I happen to know that the new youth curriculum, anybody know what I'm talking about when I say the new youth curriculum? I've actually talked to people who have been building that, putting it together. They said, we used the BYU Idaho learning model to help develop that. It's got to be pretty good stuff, huh? Anybody else have something that they felt, something that...
I like the principle of how we have to love and serve and teach one another, because I think that's really important to have when you're going to be a future teacher, is that patience and that love, especially in math, because a lot of people do struggle with math. So I think that's an important thing to learn now as we're progressing and learning.
My goal is to have a safe environment where all of you will feel comfortable. Let's say semi-comfortable. Some of you won't feel comfortable. But if I ever say anything that made you feel like, well, I'm not going to say anything again. And sometimes I do it inadvertently and I don't realize I'm doing it. Please come talk to me. Look, when you said this, I was teaching a class and I said something about, well, this one you learned back in 3rd grade. And it really was a 3rd grade topic. And the reason I was saying that was that I wanted to let them feel like, oh, you can handle it because it's easy. It was 3rd grade. the person came and said, you said that, and I don't know what you meant, but I didn't know how to do it, and that made me feel really, that kind of backfired. I was trying to encourage him. But if I do anything at all that causes you to say, I don't want to participate, or please come to me. Send me an email if you don't want to come talk. No, come talk to me. We need to. The first thing I'll do is apologize, and then I'll be looking for those opportunities. But don't any of you do anything that would make anybody in here feel like they're dumb or they don't want to get up and share. Because you got to get inside a student's head to know what they're thinking, to be able to move the more you need them to go. And you can't get inside their head if you've got an environment where they're not feeling safe. Does that make sense? So we've got to have that love, serve, and teach one another in class. Thank you. One more comment, if there's anybody who has one. Got lots more to do today.
I just really like the learning model, how it really emphasizes on teach one another, because you really have to understand something pretty well to be able to teach it, and you just learn so much better yourself when you're like, okay, how can I explain this to someone else, and then it sticks with you so much more.
And I'll just say this, sometimes these math ed majors, these are going to be our high school and junior high, they come in with some pretty good math skills. And maybe even some of you that aren't in the math ed majors, and you say, I'm pretty good at math. And we're always thinking, I don't need to help anybody. I know how to do this. I don't need to get in study groups. Well, you do need to get in study groups. I don't care how smart you are. You can learn something from these other members. And if nothing else, as you help explain, you learn it better. If you can explain it to somebody, you've got it. If you can put it in words that others can get, you've got it. Does that make sense? Okay. For those of you who read the syllabus, took the syllabus quiz, does anybody have any questions about anything that you found there?
The writing your own resource, I read about it, but it's still not making complete sense of what that really is.
Okay. So in the next couple of days, somebody remind me and we'll show you some samples of previous, okay, and give you a little bit better idea.
Okay.
Would that help to see what some people have turned in? And okay. Anything else that you're wondering about? Good. And the quiz did what it was meant to do, and that is to take care of, yeah.
Was there a place to submit those questions?
I thought there was, but I got all kinds of emails saying there wasn't. It must have been the way I set up the assignment. So let me just go in and retweet that, and there'll be a spot for you to do that. And you can either, if you word process it, just copy it and paste it. If you have it written out and you just want to scan it and upload the PDF scan, okay. All right. Well, it's time to do a little math then. And did everybody just notice what I was doing here? I'll just show you again because this is a little teeny teaching tip. You have a stack of papers you're going to pass out to your class. Bend it, grab it here like this. See how I'm fanning it out on the end by, okay, and then I can just, there's 6 like that. I only need 5 there. Got to count well. The reason I point that out is I've asked you to keep in your personal resource some ideas about teaching. And this is just kind of a crazy little teeny tiny one that would apply whether you're teaching science or reading or whatever. If you're handing out materials and you want to, so you could say, oh, just fan the papers, count them quickly, and, okay? I mentioned there are two kinds of resources. One would be to teach a specific part about math. This is more general, right? It could be used for anything. But just so you get in the habit, every day when you go home and you start to do your homework, you should pull out this personal resource teaching area, and you should write down at least one idea about teaching every day. Maybe you'll have 2 or 3 a day. Where are you going to get them from? I will not explicitly stop and say, put this in your... You're going to have to be watching. It may be something that you learned from one of your classmates. It may be something that I do that I don't... You just notice that I do it. Or go, wow, that is I want to do that thing. Or it might be some things you write down, I'm never going to do that. No. Hopefully we won't have too many of those. But anyway, every day when you sit down to do your homework, the math part, just stop and say, what did I learn about teaching in the class? Okay? Well, read and get started. I would like you to work alone to begin with. Work alone to begin with. A digital copy of this is on tonight's homework, so if anyone wants the digital copy, they can have it. So feel free to write all over this if you want. You can make yourself another copy later.